Welcome to Construct Tech TV. Time to look at another top 5 tech trends. This week we will look at fingerprinting, top 3 technologies for homes, cranes that print, smarter materials, and the tilt wall technology. First, I want to ask you a question. Will you be fingerprinted at the job site? The answer could be yes. A construction site in China is using fingerprinting and face recognition technology. Country Garden Holdings is using the technology on its mansion project. Every worker that enters the site must use the system. When workers log in, they are identified into the system. They can then access information about weather as well as construction materials. Now that is on just one connected job site. You could potentially be fingerprinted at the job site of the future. What is a connected home, really? Today, let's look at the top 3 technologies that just might change the way you turn a house into a home. According to the Gartner survey, home security alarm systems, home monitoring, and home automation or energy management are solutions that are starting to catch on. This is because these technologies are starting to be more recognized and marketed in the United States. As a result, home buyers are requesting them. If you are building a smart home, consider these types of technologies. Cranes are getting smart, so much so that they might be printing and building skyscrapers in the future. Or at least that is what Kaza believes. The company designs and engineers projects with 3D printing, and it plans to use cranes to help print large structures. And this isn't the only company with this vision. Arconic also envisions a future where skyscrapers are printed. This company provides materials and technologies to transform industries and sees 3D printing helping with construction. I wonder if we will have a 3D printed Godzilla someday. I have a lot of questions for you to ponder today. So here goes. Are construction materials actually becoming smarter? Allied Market Research says yes. Case in point, smart glass. Now, some of you may have come in contact with this already. Smart glass windows can be used in both residential and commercial to save energy. But now we see this market is going to shine as it grows 20.4%. Smart glass is electrically switchable. The glass actually redirects unwanted heat from the sun or allows sunshine to enter for warmth. And that is only one example. Materials are becoming smarter. So how will your construction projects sparkle in the future? One challenge on construction job sites is erection of perimeter walls. Well, Mulligan Constructors of Orlando found an easier way: tilt wall technology. The building's walls are poured at the job site in large slabs. Here's how it works. Crews assemble the panel forms. Concrete is then poured to create the panels. Once solid, workers connect the first panel to a crane that hook into the inserts. Then braces are attached to the tilt-up panel. The panel is then brought to a vertical position above the footings. Braces from the tilt-up panel are also connected to the slab, and the panel's embeds are attached to the footings. The cables are then disconnected from the crane. The tilt wall tech goes faster. And isn't that what this is really all about? Completing jobs faster and on budget. That's your tech update for today. It's Distracted Driving Awareness Month, and we thought on this segment we would talk about distracted driving and worker safety. As you may have heard on one of my shows, the Peggy Smedley Show, motor vehicle deaths in 2016 were estimated to be the highest in 9 years. And this impacts construction industry in so many ways. So here on this segment, Laura Black, from ConstructTech and Dan Feigl, the associate editor of ConstructTech, are joining me so we can actually talk about how this is impacting construction. So Laura, let's talk about it. How are we seeing driving motorists actually impacting construction work sites these days?
Yeah, I think it's really twofold. I think we're seeing two things happen. I think the first thing you really think about is work zone safety, and we are definitely seeing, an increase in workers getting hit by cars. I think we need to educate workers on how to be more safe on the job site. I think that's first. But then I also think I'm hearing from a lot of construction companies that they're really aware of this distracted driving problem, and they're really interested in ways that they can help their drivers become safer on the roads as well. So I think it's really twofold.
I think you make a good point, because right now there's 20,000 workers that are injured on work sites. And I think that number is just too high right now, if you think about it, because it's motor vehicles that are, it's not only that it's road construction, but it's the drivers who aren't necessarily, are they texting? Are they just not paying attention and slowing down at work sites? So Dan, what do you think we need to be doing?
Well, I think kind of going off of what Laura said, education is a big part of it. I know we talk a lot on the show about embracing new technology on the job sites, whether it be tablets, phones, or anything like that. But if you have a driver who is looking down at their phone, and then you have a worker on there who's also looking down at a phone, a tablet, or anything like that, you kind of create a recipe for disaster. So creating awareness on both sides, I think, is really important.
If we look at all this right now and we look at what's happening, we know that right now OSHA is saying that 1 in 10 deaths are occurring right now on, or injured, I should say, on the job site. What are we doing? Is it because, as you say, it's a twofold problem? Do we need to make sure that the workers know they need to be doing a more vigilant and paying attention? Or is it that motorists aren't paying attention and we need to say, look, we need to be paying attention to our surroundings? Or is it that we need to have more laws, more penalties, more fines? What's the combination?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think there needs to be awareness on both sides. I think there needs to be awareness on the construction job site. I think workers need to be aware. I think there's opportunities there to use some technologies to kind of help make them a little bit safer. And then I also think motorists, as you mentioned, drivers, there needs to be more done there to help make drivers a little bit safer. And I think, as you discussed, the National Safety Council does a really good job with Distracted Driving Awareness Month in April, and talking about how we can work together to make drivers more aware as well.
Well, one of the things when you talk about the National Safety Council, they talk about wanting to actually hear more from people saying that they want ways to stop the idea of people using their phones, because 90 workers a week, if you think about it, or 13 deaths every day. Mm-hmm. And that's crazy when you think about the worksite side of it. So should we now say that motorists are not allowed to actually be able to have their phones going through a worksite at all, being able to use their phones, that the penalties are going to be so strict that we say the fines, you get points on your driver's license if you get and you injure a worker at a job site? I mean, should we get that tough?
No, yeah, I think definitely so. As you said, we have fines and everything in Illinois. Even in just the Midwest too, even on the East Coast too. If you look, some people say that there's 2 seasons for those areas, and that's either winter or construction. So as the weather's getting warmer, as soon as it gets warm, people are out there working on the job site, and if people are on these roads, there has to be penalties out there to watch the people who are driving distracted.
Well, Dan, Laura, I appreciate you being with us. For everyone watching, that's our safety zone for today. Nobody is taking the time to train and apprentice workers. This is according to Greg Norman, founder of BathMasters. The company is a plumbing, electrical, and building contractor. Greg has developed a unique approach to training that is helping his company stand out. Here to talk all about it is Greg Norman, president and founder of BathMasters. Greg, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Welcome.
So, Greg, let's talk about what you're doing. You're not only doing this really great thing that you're doing where you are in your state right now, but you found a way to train and retain really great skilled workers. How are you doing that?
It's been a full-time job here that I'm working on. I mean, the first thing is to realize that there are great workers out there that already are very skilled. They might need some polishing because depending on when they were trained, products and so forth have changed over the years. So honestly, some people who were trained 20, 30 years ago that training might not even work for today's standards with large format tile and things like this. But you just it seems like most of the people that I talk to in the construction industry that are small and they can't find the help and they can't get big, they're convinced that there are no good people available at all. Or they tell you the story about the one guy that they trained sometime in their past, and that guy then became a competitor. So they kind of give up. So I think the first thing is just realize that you can find good people, but you need to attract them. So we do that by basically we're offering, big benefits. We're offering 401k retirement with 4% matching. We're offering Aetna health insurance and dental and vision and, weeks paid vacation and paid holidays and paid overtime, just like if it was any, big corporation or even a small corporation in a professional thing. So this is very attracting to people, particularly contractors who are used to doing a lot of times they have their own companies, they're doing their own sales, they're doing their own bookkeeping, they're doing their own work, they're doing their own quality control cycles, and they often are working all the time, and they don't necessarily see a good return on their, investment really, as if they were working for someone like me. They can just do what they love to do, they can build stuff, and it's great. So that's the first thing, is just to find good people, and through testing. Once we get them in here, we actually test them. We have forms that we have them fill out, and it says whether they have no experience or minor experience or they're very experienced or the professional level. And then we take these things, we talk it out, and then we actually say, okay, we'll build this and see what they can do. And that's the first tier. The second tier, if I can keep going here, is...
Yeah. So you have, what you're describing is you've got to first look, because you recognize there's a skills gap. So now you're weeding through that and looking at the different tiers of that skills gap. So continue on with that.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I found, oftentimes, like for us, it's very simple. We do bathroom renovations. So we're really masters of bathroom renovations because we've done thousands of bathroom renovations. We've done thousands of tub to shower conversions. So of course we've put in, just an unlimited number of soap niches and tile trim and tile seats, and we know what the best products are, and we can tell you little nuances and all this stuff. But a lot of contractors out there, if they're not marketing like we are, just to go toward a direct product, they do a garage, and then they'll do a kitchen, and then they'll do a bathroom maybe once a year, or they'll do, they're doing a lot of stuff, and they might be really good, but even after 20 years, they might have only done, 6 or 10 bathrooms. So that's nothing compared to one of my crews who've been with me for 15 years that have done hundreds of bathrooms, each. So obviously, it's a great opportunity to put an apprentice program in there. And that's the way we've actually expanded. We really do that. And I tell everybody, if they've got a lot of experience already, I'm like, listen, are you willing to train somebody else? And we'll put them in here. We'll let them prove themselves for 6 months. And if they're great, I'll be like, okay, well, you need to apprentice somebody else. And then we'll just find people. The second tier would be people who are younger, generally, that are willing to learn. And there are people out there that are willing to learn. There's a lot of people that are not willing to learn.
So that's what you're kind of saying. Are you taking the more skilled talent, training the younger talent that want to learn? Because there's a skill set what you're describing there. I mean, it's not just something you can come on. You have to be willing to learn a skill that you've just described.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I break down like a bathroom. I know bathrooms. We also do kitchens as well, but our main brand here is BathMasters. So we break that down to 3 parts. We have demo, prep, plumbing rough-in, prep, waterproofing. We waterproof all our showers with waterproof systems. So we teach that. That's like 1/3 of the job. Then we have tile installation, which that's got to be perfect, for the customers to be happy. And then we have punch-out stuff for the bathroom, finishing everything out, putting in the vanities and hooking all those things up. So we basically break it down. We look for punch-out carpenters oftentimes our punch-out carpenters that we found, particularly in our Florida location, a lot of people, more than half, way more than half of the people that we hire down here that are passing all the tests and they qualify to work for our company are moving from up north. And a lot of these guys are retiring, basically. So we offer them, go ahead.
What you just described, though, where are the, because you just said you're expanding. So now you have Florida, and you're hiring a lot of people that are trades now. And we're not necessarily talking about, because everybody talks about they have to be 4 years school, skilled computer science people, but you're hiring trades now in Florida. And where else are you hiring? Because you said you're growing very rapidly.
Well, right now we are basically located in Northern Virginia and in Florida. And we are expanding our Florida location, and we're opening our second showroom right now in the Tampa Bay area, and we're going to be moving from here. But what I mean is the guys who are hiring are moving and relocating to our places of business from up north. Like they're coming from Massachusetts or Maine or Ohio, or 3 people came on board this year from Indiana. They basically are interested in moving down to Florida where it's warmer, honestly, and they might be getting a little older. They're already planning, like some of them, their wives have retired and they're coming down here, and they're seasoned veterans. So they come aboard and we'll teach them our ways, and they've got to be willing to learn that, of course, because we use special, we're a brand and we have our special ways of doing things that's very high quality. And if they can make it through that, which most of them can, we found that they work great, to train others and to do the lighter work. We don't put them on demolition and carrying drywall around and doing tile installation, necessarily. So we take the guys who've got more experience and we put them where it counts, like doing punch out work with the customers, making sure they're happy, all those kind of things, and then training the younger guys in time. I mean, it's still a family company. Everybody's unique. We have to make sure we take account for that. It's not like a big bureaucracy at this point. We got to use each guy as we can.
Well, Greg, we enjoyed having you here on Someone You Should Know. Thank you for sharing what you guys are doing, and we wish you continued success.
Okay, thank you very much.
Today we are talking about technology giving new direction to drones. It's time to understand how drones can help obtain data. To tell us all about it, please welcome Dick Zhang, President and CEO of Identified Technologies. So Dick, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about your company and a little bit about what you guys are doing, and let's see if we can really understand all things that we talk about drones a little bit.
Sure, let's do it.
So really what's happening in the drone space right now and what you guys offer the marketplace?
Yeah, so we are a fully managed, what I'll call a commercial drone solution, and it's all about driving visibility in the very, very opaque construction workflow for typically large contractors, large work site kind of contractors.
So when you think about construction companies, what do they really need these days when we talk about drones and drone technologies and platforms? Do they really understand what they need out of data and information?
Yeah, so I'll actually back it up even one level from there. I think what really matters to these guys is it's about operating productively on the jobs we win. It's about winning more bids, and it's about operating safely on the job we win. And so all of this data is really meant to drive those 3 items. And so nothing else matters except those 3.
And that's a really good point. So when they're looking at that kind of information, do you help them understand and extrapolate how they make the most out of their job sites and where they get the most information so they can make those decisions more profitably then?
Exactly. So the part of what comes out of this fully managed solution is this integrated sort of software will help with progress forecasting. It'll help with cost forecasting. And there's different change detection kind of analytics. And the whole idea here is we want to operate profitably, productively, and safely.
So have we seen, you've gone out there right now, do you have examples of being able to show construction companies how you're going to help them do that today?
Yeah, absolutely. So imagine a large, site work project. We're making a 3-mile roadway in the middle of Kentucky, and it's just enormous, expansive site. Imagine something the size of Central Park, for example, right? And you can only ever tell what's happening after the fact and a month after it's happened. And so it's like these guys are trying to operate this site, drive a car basically with only access to their rear view mirrors. So the idea is we're trying to open up that windshield, let them drive while looking forward.
So when we look at all the data right now, and we're looking at the survey of a piece of land, and we're looking at all of this, and you're looking at it from a drone perspective, what kind of profitability now can we expect when you have really good information? Are we talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars now that they're kind of looking at that have been wasted? Now all of a sudden you're saying, look, now we're talking about you're going to have insights into things you never had before that are going to be going to the bottom line because margins are so thin. Now we have this whole new insight that can say that makes the difference between a project you might have not have looked at. Now it changes the way you're looking at a job site that says, now I'm in the game.
Exactly. And it's important to appreciate, from the contractor's perspective, this is not an extremely, extremely high margin business. So in a world where you're making, 5, 10, maybe 15 percentage points, profit on a job, these contractors struggle with data capture. They struggle with the surveying, the mapping. And what we're finding is the data that they are capturing is way, the error of margin in that data is way outside any kind of profitability that they might make on a project. So it's tough to build a construction business if the information going in and how you make decisions, the error is so much larger than your actual profit margin. So the idea here is by bringing that error of margin down, the understanding of what's actually happening on site, bring that down to sub 1%, then now all of a sudden we can make very profitable real-time decisions on these projects and realize those profits.
Are you able to take this information and integrate it with existing systems? Because that's part of the problem. We talk about data and wanting to have information, and we're not able to get that information. Are we able to integrate it with other systems so we could see this real-time information?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're actually speaking to here just an enormous trend that we're going to see over the next few years with drones. Drones as this individual item have become really, they're awesome. They're we have industry folks realizing value, but where we're going to see exponential increase in the value realized by the construction business is when drones start to integrate with equipment, when drones start to integrate with planning software, with automated machine software, and even Identified has taken that first step in integrating drones with the rest of the job site with what we call Truck IQ, which was just announced a few weeks ago at Connex. And the whole idea here is the drones are capturing daily production quantities. Truck IQ and the sensors on all the trucks are calculating actual cycle times and haul times, and we can combine those two to create a very, very real and detailed production management solution.
Well, I have to tell you, Dick, it's really exciting to hear what you guys are doing at Identified Technologies, and thank you for joining us today. And that's our innovation of technology for today.
Terrific. Thanks for having me.
Often, construction projects are performed at night, with many of them in heavily populated areas or on the highway. This is certainly a big safety concern. Floodlights can help, but they don't illuminate the individual workers themselves. One company is looking to give workers what you'd call halos. This is just the ideal way to lighten up the project, and it also lightens up workers so they can be seen by others. Here to tell us all about it is Max Baker, CEO of Illumagear. Max, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us on. It's a great pleasure to be here.
So Max, tell us what you have here today, because I've seen this and it's a pretty great product.
Thank you. So this is our product, the Halo Light. It is a system designed to fit on any standard hard hat, and it's designed to make the wearer visible and more efficient at their job.
Now, you and I both know safety is absolutely the #1 concern for workers at any job site. So why are just regular lights on a job site not enough, and why do we need halos?
So most lights, like a tower light and a big light stand, is designed to illuminate the work area. The lighting is not really set up to illuminate the individual. If you think about it, most people that are working on a job site, even in some of these pictures you'll see, are wearing some type of safety vest, a retroreflective vest. And that's designed to make them essentially visible while they're on the job. We think about it from the concept that it's 2017 and that a piece of retroreflective tape is really an inadequate tool to make someone visible on a job. Over 50% of the accidents on a job happen within the job site, and you have a lot of heavy equipment, materials, tools that are moving around at all times, and if it's about making someone visible for just 1 second faster, we think that's the important part of helping get people home.
And you and I agree with that 100%. Let's walk us through the product. How does it actually work? Show us.
Yeah, so this is our halo. You'll note these spring tension clips right here are designed to fit on any standard hard hat. What they do is they work with the ANSI Z89.1 rating, which dictates that you cannot pierce, permanently fix, or modify the hard hat in any way. So what you do is you slide the hard hat down just like, or excuse me, the halo down just like that on the hard hat. You'll note that it'll stay on under normal working conditions. And just to show you that it works with a variety of hard hats, we can just slide it down. And there you go. Doesn't matter if you have a cap style or a full brim. So this is a cap style hard hat, and this is a full brim style. It'll work with both of them. But what the halo does is it has 4 different modes. The first mode, when you turn it on, this is halo.
And you can see them pretty bright with that one right there.
Yeah, this in a low light situation makes the wearer visible for at least 1/4 of a mile, and it will last for 5.5 hours in this setting. Second mode, high alert. So if you think of a headache rack on a truck or piece of equipment that's strobing like this, we think it makes exponential sense that the wearer and the employee on the job should be at least as visible as a piece of equipment.
Good.
Then our third mode is task. You'll note it illuminates the area up front a little bit more, dims the power down in the back. We're actually pushing about 3 times more power than a typical headlamp that's a camping tool that's being used on a job site. So this is actually an industrial product meant for a hard hat, meant to be used every day. But it's kind of bright if I'm talking to you. Hey, how's it going? So the last mode is dim. Turning power down, you can use it on like this for up to 34 hours.
So I was going to say, how long does the battery, you have a battery in there, I assume that lasts. How long do those batteries last?
Yeah, so our battery on average use will actually survive over 15 hours on a typical day, depending on how you cycle through the modes and you use it. And one of our batteries, which is a standard 18650 lithium-ion battery, just slides into the back of our halo right here. Just give you guys a sense of this is how it fits in there. This is actually an IP67 rated product, so once you've turned this quarter turn, you slide it down right here, you can fully submerge this underwater. It'll go actually to a meter depth, and you can have it there for over 30 minutes with no water penetration. The funny thing, though, is actually this will float. So you'll actually have to put weight on it to get it to go down. But the IP67 rating is designed so that you can know essentially that it's extremely tough and durable and will be used on the job.
And you think about that, in a construction site, you're in all kinds of elements. So if it's raining, dirty conditions, it's going to be durable for them.
Absolutely. And we have a 1-year warranty on our product. We stand behind our gear. If it doesn't work for you, I will personally take it back.
Now, that's what we just heard. You're going to personally take it back. So where can we get these?
Illumagear.com. You can buy them on Amazon, your local regional distributor, whatever outlet works best for you as a purchaser.
So typically, what type of companies, construction companies, are purchasing these type of products?
Oh, we have a lot of different types of customers that use our equipment. If you wear a hard hat and you wear a safety vest and you've ever experienced a low light situation and or ever felt like you were at risk, you're probably some type of our user base. We have everyone from some of the top largest general contractors all the way down to, not down to, but all the way to just asphalt paving, rail construction, utility maintenance, facilities, truck drivers, pretty much anyone in and around equipment whatsoever.
So you're typically saying that it really doesn't matter whether your company's purchasing this. If you really want safety, this is something for you. So what are we talking about price?
$99. And I will say that definitely some of the first people that ever come to us are the individual users that just are raising their hands and say, hey, I want to check that out. What is that? I feel a little like maybe I need some more stuff on my job. And then usually companies come around afterwards once their internal teams have started raising their hands and saying, hey, have you guys seen this? And so, yeah, $99, Halo battery, and a 1-year warranty from us.
Max, I got to tell you, it's a great tool. Thank you for being with us on Got a Tool.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us here.
There you have it. That's our Got a Tool for today. Operating heavy equipment is hard work, and it requires a particular skill set that needs to be perfected. Today, equipment simulators have emerged to help advance worker skill set. Recently, I had a chance to try my hand at a virtual reality simulator. My first reaction is that I would fail at being a gamer or any career that requires the use of a joystick. And I have to tell you, operating in a piece of equipment or to move any dirt, I know I was going to fail, and I did. But there's no doubt if I had practice or if I learned proper operating techniques, I would succeed. And the good news is that Immersive Technologies is here to help me or any contractor learn how to operate heavy equipment. Here to tell us all about it and to master the possibilities is Greg Karadjian. He's the Regional Vice President of North America for Immersive Technologies. Greg, welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here.
So Greg, let's talk about what is safety on a job site that you can actually use a simulator to actually help you move heavy equipment.
Sure. Heavy equipment on work sites is obviously one of the largest risks present for any operator. Very large machines made out of steel and they can move very, very quickly. And if people aren't accustomed to the safety features such as hydraulic lockouts on that piece of equipment, things can quickly escalate into a safety incident.
So when we talk about simulator equipment now, how do you help construction companies become more profitable when they're using virtual reality simulators or things like that?
Well, when it comes to contract employees working on a work site, the employer quite often has very little visibility in terms of the history or the performance of someone that's coming onto their site. Typically, it's a transient workforce, and those people typically come sight unseen. Using the Worksite VR platform, we're able to objectively quantify the productivity of an operator, their safety behaviours, how abusive they are on the equipment, and then put that all together into a metric that tells the employer whether or not this person is fit for work.
And when you're looking at all of this kind of equipment right now, how does your training simulators kind of differ from some of the others that are out there? Because we're seeing a lot of them pop up today that are trying to help the job site, but you guys are doing things a little differently.
Absolutely. And firstly, the Immersive Technologies Worksite VR simulators, although they are brand new, they benefit for 24 years of heritage from Immersive Technologies large-scale mining equipment simulators. So the physics that's in place is highly realistic, the most realistic on the market. Secondly, it's packaged up into the most portable platform on the market. It fits into 2 cases, which can be checked onto a flight, put in the back of a vehicle, and taken directly out to the work site. So those construction companies don't need to drive into a centralised training centre or a vocational college. They can have that assessment performed on the work site, done that day.
Are you seeing a lot more companies embracing virtual reality simulator training?
Absolutely. In the mining industry, simulation-based training has effectively become the norm for any major mining organisation. In the construction industry, however, the deployment of that technology has been somewhat more slower. And I believe that's primarily due to the issues we're talking about in terms of the logistics of getting it to the worksite. Unless we can get it to where the training needs to be delivered, that adoption isn't going to happen as far as it should.
We talk about there being a skill set kind of gap or shortage occurring right now. Are we seeing different ages kind of adopting the training and simulator from the younger to the older generation of users right now?
Certainly the younger generations are more comfortable with technologies like VR. However, even with older generations, once they become accustomed to the technology, an issue which we address in our curricula with units around how to get comfortable with VR technology, once they become comfortable with that technology, they actually are very welcoming of this because they view it as their employers making an investment in them.
How about companies like the OEMs, like Komatsu and others, kind of embracing this kind of technology as well?
Well, for the manufacturers, it's a very simple equation. The people buying their equipment expect there to be training when they purchase a new piece of equipment. And secondly, they know that the biggest impediment to their equipment being used effectively is the operator. And so by deploying these sorts of training solutions, OEMs know that they're able to present themselves in the best light and meet the needs of their customers.
And you can see they're getting better life out of that equipment when they know how to use it.
Absolutely.
Well, Greg, we've enjoyed having you so much today on Learn It, so thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much for your time.
All right, well, that's what you have today for Learn It. That's all we have. Today's word of the day is CAD, otherwise known as computer-aided design. Geometry and written design first emerged in the 16th and 17th centuries. But it was Patrick Henratty and Ivan Sutherland who kicked things off in the 1960s. You can call them the dads of CAD. Henratty helped create a new system that allowed for interactive graphics. And Sutherland led developments in visual simulation with the Sketchpad system. This allowed users to create drawings and connect design concepts on their computer screens. Although many of the early CAD programs were in 2D, by the 1980s and the 1990s, many had been integrated with 3D technology. This has continued to be the norm for computer-aided design today. But now this is evolving with the growth of 3D printing. Today, this amazing 3-letter acronym needs to be integrated with 3D printing. And this is creating an alphabet soup in the construction industry. Leveraging CAD, construction firms can design and print models of projects. But it is more than just printing models. Some contractors are printing components of buildings as well. A roof engineers, for instance, print steel components. So we are seeing CAD is growing and growing fast. New developments are hinting at AI and BIM and even at the possibility of printing homes and skyscrapers. CAD, that's your word of the day. And thanks for watching Construct Tech TV, where we are talking tech at the job site.